Welcome to the Mogami-class frigate ship brief. This is Japan's new frigate class design, and they're going to build 12 of these. They currently have 6 in service at time of this recording, and they're all built by the same shipyard company, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, but across 3 different shipyards along the island of Japan. So this is a very capable, fast frigate. It's often called 30FFM as a class. That would be Futuristic Frigate Modern or Multi-Role. Of the 12 that they're going to build, those are going to be Batch 1. There is a Batch 2 planned for hulls 13 and beyond that will incorporate additional anti-air capability. Some of the key features that you see here in the picture are the low radar cross-section design, from everything from the turret on the bow to the VLS flat deck, and the superstructure itself being canted at a way that is low observable to radars. It is capable of a top speed of 30 knots and displaces 5,500 tons and is 132 meters long. It does carry the Type 17 SSM anti-ship missiles, 8 of those. It has a 16-cell VLS Mark 41 with the navalized SeaRAM or Type 03 weapon that we'll talk about, and has a MCM or multi-mission helicopter in the back. This came in service in 2022. Let's go over the weapon systems of this very capable frigate. The Mark 45 Mod 4 is 127 millimeter. That's a 5-inch gun on the bow. Rather large gun for a frigate. Most American frigates have the smaller version of this gun, but they have the full-on Mark 45 Mod 4. Right behind there on the flat deck is the 16-cell Mark 41. In this photo, it's not fitted yet, but that's where it's going to go. They also have the capability to shoot the 324 millimeter, which is the smaller diameter, lightweight torpedo. They have a triple launcher port and starboard for a total of 6 tubes that can be reloaded by hand from inside the ship. The Type 17 anti-ship missiles are amidships in quad launchers, one facing port, one facing starboard. And above the helicopter deck is the SeaRAM point defense missile system. This is very similar to a close-in weapon system, but instead of using a ballistic projectile like a 20 or 30 millimeter round, it uses a short-range surface-to-air missile. And aft on the fantail, behind the helicopter landing area, is mine-laying equipment. The sensors on this ship are quite unique. The big mast is called the Unicorn Complex or the NORA 50 integrated mast. It is an assembly of multiple sensors in that mast that we'll go over in detail today. Below that are the OPY-2 multifunction radars. Those are phased array ASC radars. Right below those square panels is a rectangle panel that is the NOLQ-3E ASM, Electronic Support Measure System. Mounted above the bridge, just forward of the mast, is the OAX3 electrical optical infrared sensor that they can move manually from inside the ship remotely and track objects by shape, by heat signature, and get ranging information and stuff like that from it. The QQ-11 mine avoidance sonar is mounted on this ship. That's a high-frequency sonar, relatively short range, but very high fidelity. She does have the QQQ-25 VDS, which is a variable depth sonar that they tow behind them that is both active and passive capable. And they have the QZZ5 synthetic aperture sonar as a UUV. That's an unmanned underwater vehicle that they can deploy. So here's the Unicorn Unified Complex Radio Antenna, commonly spoken Unicorn. And here you can see it integrates multiple antennas into one shape right here. It's designed to have maximum detection range by mounting it at the highest point on board the ship. It is an omnidirectional antenna. It does both things like communication, Wi-Fi bandwidth for the local area. Link 16 is data link for weapon systems like the Aegis system. That gives this ship the ability to work with the American fleets and be a weapons platform in an American fleet underway. She has both UHF band and transmit receive antenna. an IFF response antenna, which is very important for friend or foe identification, and a UHF VHF band antenna as well. This entire mast at the highest point in the ship is very susceptible to lightning and developing static charge, as any mast is. This one a little more so than others because it is a single high point with nothing else around it. So it is extremely well protected and grounded for static discharge. Any other details about the Unicorn here are very sensitive. Just know that it has a lot of capability, from simple Wi-Fi to Link 16 communication, as well as typical broadcast communication. Here are the 12 that they're building and where they're building them. The first one is the Mogami FFM-1, and that is the name of the class of the ship. She was commissioned in 2022, and they are building these at a rate of 2 a year right now on average. So they're really getting these out. There are 3 shipyards building it, but they're all owned by the same company. And they're working hard to get this first batch out as fast as possible. And when batch 2 begins, we will cover that in a different briefing. So made in Japan, like I said, by Mitsubishi Heavy Industry, Nagasaki shipyards. And those are the locations of where those shipyards are at. The Mogami-class frigate by the numbers. So this is a code DAG system, so it's combined diesel and gas, which means it has 2-man 12V28 maritime diesels and a Rolls-Royce MT30 gas turbine with 2 shafts. It's 5,050 tons displacement full load and is 132 meters long, like I said, can achieve a speed of 30 knots, has a 16-cell Mark 41 VLS, can shoot the ASROC torpedo, that's the vertically launched torpedo, as well as other weapons. She has 2 triple-mounted torpedo tubes, 1 port, 1 starboard. The Mark 45 Mod 4 is a 127 millimeter gun on the bow, and a SeaRAM PDMS above the helicopter hangar, and she's capable of launching sea mines. So you can see in this first batch, just based on the weapons and the sensors, she is primarily an anti-submarine warfare frigate. She would have some capability for being a picket ship with detection and that antenna on the ship looking over the horizon, like the Unicorn Antenna Complex and the OPY-2 fixed face AESA radar. But as far as engagement goes, offensive power projection primarily is going to be anti-submarine. So she does have the QQQ or the OQQ-11 mine avoidance sonar, the NEC QQ-25 variable depth sonar, and the Thales SAMDIS synthetic aperture sonar on a UUV, which is very interesting that we have a frigate now employing UUVs as one of their primary ASW sensors. And she can carry the MCH-101 helicopter. Here's the Rolls-Royce MT30 gas turbine, very efficient, high power, based on the Trent Arrow engine turbine. They essentially take these aviation type turbines and navalize them, put them inside of a container, and where they're also easy to replace and maintain, and stick them on board these ships. So this one has a 42% thermal efficiency, which is very high. It's very efficient. And it outputs 36,000 kilowatts and weighs only 22 tons. So the power to weight ratio is insane here. This is the MAN 12 V28 33 diesel engine. It's a maritime diesel engine developed by Ruston Man BW Diesel Limited. It is a 280 millimeter bore, 330 millimeter stroke cylinder engine. And it creates a power of just under 5,000 kilowatts. So this is going to be used for propulsion and other loads. The gas turbine would be almost like a boost to get to those higher speeds. So its rate is going to be 900 RPM, which is its most efficient RPM. And it's a 4-cycle, direct injection, water-cooled diesel engine. It's very good. Here's the OPY fixed face AESA radar. Those are the flat panels on the mast. These are X-band multipurpose AESA radars. They create a 3D surveillance around the ship for the crew and also provide fire control radar system for the weapons. They have 4 fixed panels equally spaced around the triangle or pyramid style mast, also called the FCS-3. You may see that. And these operate in the 4 to 8 gigahertz bands. And for the X band, it's 8 to 10 gigahertz band. So there's 4 panels, all 90 degrees apart from each other, giving 360-degree coverage around the ship. The NOL-Q3E ESM, this is electronic support measure system. It is a passive radar with some electronic attack capabilities. So it has some ECM capability built into it, even though it is an ESM system. This radar band omnidirectional detection antenna is good at finding other radars, classifying them, and also identifying what mode those radars are in, whether it's search or it's a fire control radar updating a weapon, or if it's the weapon itself radar guiding in on the ship. This system is what will alert the crew as to what is happening in the electromagnetic spectrum around the ship. This is also integrated with the chaff launchers, so whenever they see that they're under attack, they can launch the decoys and the chaffs to deflect the missile or make the missile miss by going after the chaff. Here is that OZZQ AUV, Autonomous Underwater Vehicle. It's very small, 4 meters. It's a 0.5 meter in diameter, only does about 7 knots. It does have an X rudder, both forward and aft. It's very maneuverable. And the idea here is that they deploy this into the water near the ship, and it's capable to run up to 9 hours around the ship, and has a top speed of only 7 knots. So while it's deployed, the ship, it may go and perform an operation somewhere, but it would have to come back, or it would likely just stay in the area of the UAV. This would be very good for identifying minefields and locating where all the mines are at without risking the ship. That would be the most likely use of this AUV. But you could also obviously detect other contacts with it, like submarines and whatnot. But primarily, I believe this is a mine-sweeping underwater vehicle. Here's the SAMDIS SAS. This is synthetic aperture sonar that is on the AUV. Views targets from 3 different angles and has a little battery pack there. Very high resolution. It has been tested in sea states up to sea state 4, which is a little higher than your average sea state. The average sea state in the Atlantic and deep Pacific is, a 3. 2 would be very calm. 3 would be your normal wave height. 4 is a little choppy, and then 5 and above gets pretty rough. So as long as it's sea state 4 or less, they can deploy and retrieve this and have it run this sonar system for up to 7 hours, or up to 9 hours at 7 knots. The Mark 41 VLS vertical launching system is the one that the Americans use. It's on all of our ships, and we sell it to our allies or license it to our allies. They're going to have the 8x2 cell module. It occupies the deck area. Here's a nice picture of it. This is where they're going to be launching their torpedoes vertically. The Batch 2 will incorporate a air defense weapon. This frigate does not have that. So this is their Type 07 vertically launched ASROC missiles. 2 of the FFMs are fitted with the VLS. The others will soon be fitted. So the original hulls, as of 2022, don't have this yet. They have to go back into dry dock, and they'll install this launcher. The Type 07 ASROC that is being launched out of that VLS is manufactured by Japanese Technical Research Development Institute. It's an extended range RUR-5 ASROC. And here you can see it's fired by the Mark 41. So the operational range has been extended out to 30 kilometers and has a Type 12 or Type 97 lightweight torpedo on board. Once the torpedo is in the water, it is internally guided and finds targets on its own and destroys them. Typically, a weapon like this would be limited in depth so that it doesn't come back and hit a ship or hit the own ship that launched it. It wouldn't be allowed to go above a certain depth once it's in the water. The Type 9017 anti-ship missiles, these are very similar to the Harpoon, also called the SM-2 or SSM-2, based on the Japanese Type 12 missile. It is a length of 5 meters, diameter of 350 meters, and a weight of 660 kilograms. Operational range is 150 kilometers, has a 225 kilogram high explosive semi-armor piercing warhead with blast fragmentation. Pretty much what the Harpoon is. It is a subsonic missile at 0.9 Mach and cruises 5 to 6 meters above the water. It is active radar homing during its terminal phase, and has an IIR seeker on the nose as well to ensure that it keeps track of the target. Even if they deploy chaff, it can home in on the IR seeker. If they deploy flares, it can use the radar. Either way, it's going to find its target. This is the SeaRAM PDMS, manufactured by Raytheon, based on the Mark 15 phalanx mount. That's why it looks very similar to a Sea Whiz. But instead of having a 20mm Gatling gun, it has an 11-cell RAM launcher, which is a rolling airframe missile launcher. The RIM-116 missile is a short-range surface-to-air missile that goes about 15 kilometers if it has the Block 2, which is a little bit longer than Block 1. And it is a IR optically guided missile. The Mark 45 Mod 2 and Mod 4, depending on the shell that they're firing and the bore diameter of the cannon, is a dual-purpose gun. Typically, this frigate will have the Mod 4 on it, which has the 36-kilometer range for surface attack. There's also an airburst flak-type shell that goes 15 kilometers. It'll be used for anything aviation-wise that's close. Typically, drones is what I would expect it to be used against because it's a very inexpensive way of taking down a drone. Rate of fire is 16 to 20 rounds per minute, and this gun's been around since the 1980s. So Mod 2, Mod 4, the frigates that the Japanese have are operating the Mod 4 version of this weapon. Here's the MCH-101 helicopter, a very good maritime patrol helicopter. It's made by August Westland and Kawasaki. It's a mine countermeasure helicopter, MCH. Has an operational speed of 150 knots, has a ceiling of about 15,000 feet, and can travel about 610 nautical miles. Pretty long range for a helicopter. The primary task, though, is mine countermeasure detection and destruction. This is one of two helicopter types that are capable. The other one would be AQS-24 Alpha. Has a unique 3-engine configuration, allows for safe speed or operation when towing low altitude and slow speeds. So it can tow sensors like a MAD sensor over near the surface of the water reliably. And this I will see it in 2007. All right, so the Mogami-class frigate, it is actually a really good, inexpensive frigate that is primarily used for mine warfare and anti-submarine warfare. It could also have a role in a fleet as a picket ship to keep an eye on things over the horizon, away from the carrier or whatever high-value ship is in the center of the fleet. Batch 1 frigates are underway right now. There's 6 in service. There's 6 more being built. Batch 2 is already planned, where they're going to take advantage of that Mark 41 VLS launcher on the bow and give it anti-surface and anti-air vertically launched weapons. Those will be coming soon, and we'll do a whole new brief on the Batch 2 whenever those begin being built. Look forward to doing that. The most unique feature on this frigate is the Unicorn antenna. Again, that's for United Combined Radio Antenna, commonly spoken Unicorn. It is simply a collection of sensors at the very top for communication that both transmit and receive, as well as, like I said, Wi-Fi and every other types of communication you can think of, including data link with the American Navy ships. And that would also include all of our allies like Australia ships, anybody using the Aegis system, or specifically the Link 16 system, but that is associated with Aegis platforms, can become part of the fleet and part of the weapon and sensor network and share data between platforms. Very important part of this lecture is understanding the value of Link 16, and that is part of the Unicorn integrated mast. So 12 more frigates are expected to be built as Batch 2, and they will have anti-air capability, and I look forward to uncovering those when they become available. This has been the Mogami Ship Brief. Thanks for listening, everybody.